let's say that you're logged in as a regular user, you've run some sudo commands a couple of times, and now you're locked out from being able to use sudo because maybe you fat fingered your password a couple too many times, or maybe your keyboard has a sticky key and accidentally did that. But yeah, on most Linux distros, by default, if you input your password incorrectly 3 times, then you will be locked out for 10 minutes. At least that's the case on Arch Linux, Fedora, and other distros that pre-configure PAM out of the box to work with faillock. If you're using something like a Debian-based distro or Ubuntu, etc., then you'll need to integrate that manually. We're not going to cover that in the video, so yeah, but let's demonstrate some scenario here. So if I do something like a sudo who am I here, and if I input my password a couple of different times incorrectly here, there's 2 times in a row, and then here's the 3rd time, then yeah, you might see something like 3 incorrect password attempts and sudo is going to bail out. But if you try rerunning this again, and you're absolutely certain that you put in your correct password, which I will right now, here it is, that is my correct password, it is still not going to work, and you're still not going to get any feedback that you're locked out or something is going wrong here. But that's kind of a security feature. But really, I did put in my password correctly here, but yeah, I'm actually locked, and we can check this out real quick. So if we run faillock here on our user here, you can also use $user, dynamically just get the current user that you're logged in as now, which in my case would be Nick. Then we will see here that we do have 3 invalid login attempts here. And it's kind of interesting because we have this column in the middle saying valid with a V. You have to think about this as being basically an opposite world. So this isn't a valid login, this is an invalid login. So we're tracking basically, hey, yes, this is a valid, invalid login attempt that's counted towards your limit. So that's what we see here. And yeah, I'm going to be locked out for, basically whatever, 8-9 more minutes here. But there's 2 ways that we can unlock this. So one, you can just reboot here, which is going to reset that because the file where this information is being tracked is in var run. We're going to go and check it out in a bit here, but that's going to get wiped out during a reboot. Another way to do this one is to log in as your root user. You can't really use sudo because you're locked out, but you can just switch over to the root user. So probably you have a root password for your root user. I'm going to type that in now, and there it is. So what we could do now is run faillock. And then in this case, we're going to reference the user Nick. In your case, that'll be whatever user you want to unlock this for. And then you can do a reset. So when we do that here, and now if we go and take a look here at that other command that we ran a second ago, you can see that's been cleared out. And if I do something like sudo who am I, put in my real password, then we should see that it works. So great, you just unlocked yourself here successfully. You didn't have to reboot and life is good. So there's actually a couple of different ways to do this reset. So for example, let me just put in an incorrect password here one more time. I'm gonna have to reset my terminal. Let's do that. All right, just so we have something to work with here. All right, there we go. And then here, if you actually go into var run faillock, this directory here, there is a file here that will be named after your user. And every single time that you put an incorrect password in, this file is going to get appended to. So if I do this again, just so we have 2 items in there, then now if we cut it out again, there's going to be 2 of them. And then on the 3rd time, it's going to be a 3rd one here. And then, yeah, you'll be locked out here. So another way to unlock yourself is to delete this file, but you can't just, remove it as your current user because, yeah, it's a root owned file here. So in that case, you would still have to switch over to the root user and then you can delete the file. But in that case, you might as well just run that faillock reset command that we ran before. It's a little bit safer because, yeah, it's kind of going to manipulate this file for you behind the scenes and make sure, all the permissions and all that is going to be good to go. But yeah, now let's say maybe you want to tweak a couple of different things. Maybe you want the timeout period to be 2 minutes instead of 10, or maybe you want 5 attempts here instead of 3. So there's a couple of different things that we need to edit. Technically just one thing, but we'll see why we might want to edit 2 things. But in that case here, there is this one config file here in etc security, and then it is going to be the faillock file here. So I'm using the defaults here, so these are all commented out here. I can even use bat instead, which maybe I'll put this a little bit nicer here and also give us some paging. But you can see here too that we have deny equals 3. That's a default here. This is the number of times before you get triggered as being locked out. And then you have the unlock time here, which is 600 seconds, which will be 10 minutes. So if you want to modify this file, we totally could do that. So let's try it out and just see, how it works. So I'm going to go and edit this file as a root user because it is a root owned file. So put in your password correctly there. I'm assuming you're not locked out, which actually I think I am. So hold on a second. Do I need to actually switch over to the root user and then unlock myself? Or maybe I typed my password incorrectly. In any case here, it doesn't really matter. So let me go and actually take a look here at the user. Yeah, I was locked out. Fine. So let me reset myself just like we did before. And now I'll actually go and reset here. And yes. I did actually fat finger my password there. There we go. I learned how to type. So in this case here, let's go to deny and I don't know, maybe change this to 5, something like that. And maybe the unlock time, let's say that we just want to go with 2 minutes, right? 120 seconds. So we can write out this file and there's nothing that we need to restart or reload. These changes are going to take effect. So let me open up a brand new terminal window here and just do who am I here? Put in the password incorrectly once, twice, and then a third time. And then it's like 3 incorrect password attempts. Wait, what happened? I thought we changed it to 5. Well, it's kind of interesting. We can just rerun here and do this. And now we're actually at 4 times incorrectly. And we can verify that, right? By running this faillock command here. And we can see that there's 4 items in that list. And if we do it again once more, then we're actually going to be locked out. Right now, we're actually not locked out. So if I type in my password correctly, then it is going to work. But we're in a scenario now where the faillock config and the actual sudo tool itself are out of sync. It's not really a huge deal. You don't need to go further than this, but you can actually configure the sudo tool to also allow up to n number of incorrect password attempts, maybe 5 or whatever you decided to put in there for the faillock. So if you want sudo to be synced up so you can actually run it once and then get prompted 5 times, let's say, then we will need to make a modification to your sudoers file. So there's a couple of different ways to do this one. We can log in as the root user here. And then maybe go to etsy's sudoers d. This is a directory here that has all sorts of different files. Maybe on your machine doesn't have anything. Maybe on my machine has a couple of things. But yeah, this is how you can configure the sudoers file without needing to modify the actual Etsy sudoers file directly. I kind of like this idea of having, small little isolated files on disk here that does a configuration, and then you can go and change these things later if you'd like. But yeah, in any case here, let's go and just make a new file. We'll call this one, I don't know, like password retries. It doesn't matter really what it's named, the file name itself, but it could be something that's worth it to be descriptive of what it is. So let's do that here. And then, yeah, in this case here, we can just pop in this string here, like defaults with a capital D, space. Basically everything you see on the screen here. It's really important that you type all these characters correctly. It's case sensitive, the spacing there, no spacing here, etc. And then we can change this over to 5, right quit out. And now we are in a situation now where sudo is going to be in sync with our faillock. So if we go to faillock here and take a look, I do have nothing there, so we're good to go. So let me just open up maybe a new terminal just to be safe on both of these, just so everything is super in sync. And now we do a sudo who am I. Then I'm going to put it in incorrectly 4 times in a row just to demonstrate now that the counter is going to go up to something beyond 3. And why not? Let me just lock myself again just so we can see the message. Sure, that's 4 times in a row, and now it's going to be 5. And then we're going to see, hey, 5 incorrect password attempts. And again, going back to here, yep, I'm totally locked out. And you know the drill. I can now log in as a root user, reset myself, and we're back in business. So yeah, that's a couple of different ways here to play around with, tweaking being locked out of your machine, how to reset it, etc. So, let us know in the comments below the last time you were locked out. And yeah, if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Really does help a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.